Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about the topic from chapter 8, vegetative propagation, spore formation, and sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So what is vegetative propagation? So vegetative propagation is nothing but it is a form of asexual reproduction. Here what we are going to do is we are going to take a portion of a plant. So by using the portion of a plant we can able to grow a complete plant. So it is a kind of asexual reproduction method. The most common methods of vegetative propagations are grafting method, cutting, layering, tuber, bulb or stolon formation, suckering and tissue culture. So here I have given some of the plants which can able to cultivate by vegetative propagation methods. So example, sugarcane, rose plant, grapes, banana, orange and jasmine. So what is the advantage of cultivating the plant by using this vegetative propagation method? So plant which can able to cultivate by using this vegetative propagation, it can bear flowers and fruits earlier than those plants which can able to cultivate by using the seeds. And plant which have lost the capacity to produce seeds, so those plants can able to propagate by using this vegetative propagative methods. Another one more important advantage of cultivating the plant by using this vegetative propagation is all plants that can able to produce by using these methods are genetically similar to the parent plants. And the main disadvantage of cultivating this plant is it prevents the genetic diversity of the plants. What is genetic diversity? It is nothing but so those plants which can able to cultivate by using this vegetative propagation, the plant cannot able to produce variation among the species. So those plants, it is highly susceptible to pathogenic plant viruses, bacteria and fungi. So those microbes that can wipe out the entire crops. So here I have given some of the methods of vegetative propagation. First method is cutting. So what is cutting? Commonly we are using this method in our home. A portion of a stem or leaf is cut off and planted in the soil. So while we are choosing this cutting method, we need to treat the sample by using the plant hormones. So what are the plant hormones are present? Generally 5 types of natural hormones are present. One is auxin, cytokinin, gibberellin, abscisic acid and ethylene. So this auxin and cytokinin, these two are important plant hormone which is used for the growth of the plant. So examples of plant which can able to propagate by cutting method is rose and hibiscus. Next method is grafting. So here what we are going to do is we are going to attach we have to take a plant. In that plant we need to cut some of the portion from the stem and we need to attach the portion to another plant. So after 1 month or 2 months, root formation will be formed from the portion. So after that we need to cut off the portion. We need to transfer the sample in the soil. So this is called grafting method. Example, mango and guava. So those two plant species we can able to propagate by using this grafting method. So next method is layering. Layering method is commonly we are doing in our home. So we need to take a stem portion or branch portion of a parent plant. We need to bend it and the bended portion should be touched inside the soil. We need to apply some of the soil over the bended portions. So afterwards, after 3 weeks or 4 weeks, adventitious roots will be developed from the underground part of the plant. So what is adventitious root? Adventitious root is nothing but a root which is growing in an unusual location. For example, from a stem portion, the root can able to grow. So once the root formation happening, we need to cut the portion and leave the portion as such. So from the root, the entire complete new plant will be formed. That is called layering. Example, jasmine. The next method is suckering. Suckers grow and form a dense compact that is attached to the parent plant. So what is suckers? It is nothing but a shoot arising from the base of a tree, especially one arising from the root below ground level at some distance from the main stem or trunk. You might be aware about the banana plant. So here the suckers will be formed. So once the suckers reach a mature portions, then the matured sucker will be transplanted to a new area where they develop into new plants. The last method is tissue culture method. This tissue culture method is nothing but artificial propagation of plant under laboratory conditions. Nowadays, most of the biotech companies, they are doing this tissue culture method. Here, what we are going to do is, we are going to take an explant. So, explant is nothing but a small portion of leaf or stem or root we need to cut from the parent plant, and the small portion will be transferred inside that test tube, and we need to provide the nutrient for the growth of the explant. The nutrient should be in the form of medium. Any kind of plant medium we can use, either Gambox media we can use, or niche media we can use, or white and white media we can use. So these are some of the examples of plant nutrient media. Once again, I'll explain: Gambox media, or niche media, or white and white media. These are some of the plant nutrient media we are using for tissue culture methods. We need to provide the medium for the growth of the explants once the callus has been developed. So callus is nothing but mass number of developed tissue, that is called callus. So once a callus has been developed inside the test tube, afterwards we need to provide a plant hormone for the growth of the plant. So once the plantlet has been developed, we need to transfer the plantlet in the soil conditions. So the advantage of the tissue culture method is disease-free plant we can able to produce. So our next topic is spore formation. So what is spore formation? Reproduction by using spores. It is called spore formation. It is also an asexual method. So what is spore? So spore is nothing but it is a single cell. It can ability to develop into a new organism. So some of the organisms which can able to reproduce by using spore forming method is some kind of plant, algae, bacteria, protist and fungi. Here multicellular organisms and unicellular organisms both are involved in the reproduction by using spore formation methods. So plants, which means what kind of plant can able to reproduce by spore formation methods are generally the plant which cannot able to produce seeds, such as ferns and mosses. They can able to develop, they can able to reproduce by using spore formation methods. So spore, where it can be stored. So this spore can be stored inside the sporangia. So sporangia is nothing but it is a sac-like structure. So inside the sporangia only spores can be stored. So where it has been attached. So this sporangia, it is present in the top position of hyphae. What is hyphae? So hyphae, it is a branching filament group of hyphae. It forms a mycelium. So once the sporangia reaches the matured condition, this sporangia it started to burst out. So inside the sporangia, spores are present. This spores started to comes out from the sporangia. They started to disperse out. Spores has been dispersed either by using rain or wind or insects. So once the spores reaches the suitable conditions, they develop into a new plant. So here I have given the reproduction process through spore formation in fungus. In this figure, you might be seeing the sporangium. So once the sporangium burst out, spore has been released out from the sporangium. So see, this sporangium is attached with the hyphae. So group of hyphae, it combines together and it forms a mycelia. Our next topic. So Up to this, we discussed about asexual reproduction method. Here, we are going to deal something about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So what is sexual reproduction? By seeing the title itself, you might be understand what is sexual reproduction. Yes, of course. Here, sex organs are involved. In plants, what are the sex organs are present? So male sex organs is nothing but it is androecium. Female sex organ, it is nothing but it is gynoecium. The fusion of male gamete and female gamete and reproduction happens, which is called as sexual reproduction. So mostly this sexual reproduction happening in angiosperm plant. Angiosperm plant, it is otherwise called as flowering plant. So here we are going to discuss about the parts of the flower. So mainly 4 parts are present in the flower. One is sepals, next one is petals, third one is androecium, fourth one is gynoecium. So see, this is the structure of flower. Here you can see the petals, sepals, ovary, ovule, stigma, style, pollen, anther, filament, everything. We are going to discuss about, here is the parts of the flower. First one is calyx. Calyx is nothing but the sepals. Sepals are collectively called as calyx. It is the outermost hole of a flower. Usually calyx is exhibit as green color. In some plants, calyx may be a color like petals. So some plants calyx is prominent, some plants calyx is absent. Next is corolla. Corolla, it is nothing but it is many number of petals. It is second hole of the flower. Always the petals are colorful and in some plants the petals are fragrant. So what is the main function of this corolla is it is mainly involved in pollination. It attracts the animals and insects for pollination because of the presence of bright colored. Next one is androecium. It is male reproductive part of a flower. Androecium, it consists of stamens. So stamen, it comprises 2 parts. One is anther and filaments. So at the edge of the filament, anther is attached. So inside the anther only pollen grains are formed. So these pollen grains are responsible for reproduction. So filament, it is nothing but it is a thread-like structure which is helpful for the holding of anther. The last one is gynoecium. It is a female reproductive organ. It composed of pistil. So pistil, it comprises stigma, style. The next topic is pollination. Pollination is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. That is called pollination. There are 2 types of pollinations are there. One is self-pollination, second one is cross-pollination. What is self-pollination? Self-pollination, which means transfer of pollen grains from the anther is deposited on the stigma of same flower or another flower on the same plant. That is called self-pollination. Next one is cross-pollination. Cross-pollination, which means transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower into the stigma of another flower of different plant but in the same species. That is called cross-pollination. Next one is fertilization. So what is fertilization? So once the pollination process has been completed, fertilization happens. The pollen grains, it removes from the anther and it reaches the ovary through the fallopian tube. So once it reaches the ovary, one of the male gamete, because many number of pollen grains has been transferred to the ovary through the pollen tube. In that many number of pollen grains, only one pollen grain, it reaches the ovule and it fuses with the ovule and zygote formation and embryo formation will be formed. What happened to the rest of the pollen grains? The rest of the pollen grains, it joins with the polar nuclei. So once it joins with the polar nuclei, what will happen? So once the rest of the pollen grains, which is nothing but it is called a second gamete. It fuses with the polar nuclei. It forms the endosperm nucleus. So endosperm nucleus, which is responsible for providing nutrient to the developing embryo. So at the end of fertilization process, ovule will be developed into the seeds and ovary will be developed into the fruit portion. Here, I have attached the pictorial representation of germination of pollen on stigma. Okay, friends, I hope you all understood about this topic very well. If you have any doubt, you can clear a doubt with me. You can inbox me or you can call me personally. I'll try to clear your doubts. Thank you.